Hello and welcome to Chesapeake Weekly Home Edition. Well, the results are in for the 2021 June Chesapeake Virtual Town Meeting. We got in a ton of great questions from all over the community, and they really ranged. There was a wide range in what they were asking about. So a lot of things, of course, were for Public Works, what's going on with this project, or questions about stormwater. A great range of questions were asked, and we're posting all of them at cityofchesapeake.net/virtual-town-meeting. The responses are coming out as either video or written formats. But again, despite the wide range, there was one question that really stood out to me. It was such a great question, and I feel like it truly proves why we're called the city that cares. So someone reached out and asked, what's the city doing to help the situation of homelessness here in our community? For the answer to that, we went to Mary Riley with the Human Services Department.
I'm Mary Riley with the Department of Human Services, the Division of Community Programs. And the question is, what is the City of Chesapeake doing about the homeless citizens in our community? Well, in 2019, the city established and opened the We Care Resource Center. And the Resource Center is designed to work with those citizens who are experiencing homelessness so that we can provide resources to them, like getting mainstream benefits, getting housing, getting employment, or any other kinds of vendor assistance that they might need. It's also an opportunity for them to do their laundry and to take a shower if they're living on the street. So the We Care Resource Center has been in operation for a couple of years, but during the pandemic, we had to take a different focus because most of our citizens, or our homeless citizens, we had to place in a hotel. Fortunately, we have our faith-based community and others within the community who want to help the homeless, who usually do our winter sheltering program, or CAST. But during the pandemic, we were unable to do CAST because of the physical distancing issues and the requirements for volunteers. So we opened the hotel program with the assistance of the city and the state so that we could keep our homeless citizens safe from the virus. Well, during this time, we were very fortunate, as I said before, to have our faith-based community and some of our business partners to provide dinner meals for the guests that are in the hotel. These volunteers are priceless to us, and we couldn't do what we do for the homeless without them. In addition, these volunteers have provided bagged lunches for our citizens that are in their cars throughout the community. So we're very thankful and very lucky to have these volunteers go out into our community and to assist our citizens. Now that the pandemic is ending or coming to a close, or we're working towards back to normal, our homeless citizens will once again be on the street because we will have to close the hotel program. And unfortunately, we do not have the housing that we need in our community to keep those citizens housed. Many of them on Social Security or no income don't make enough to be able to afford an apartment. So we're looking for ways that we can house them. Again, working with our business community and our volunteers through our churches and others, we are working towards finding homes for them or finding apartments or places for them to live. So our homeless in Chesapeake are very special to us, and we welcome any kind of assistance that we can get from volunteers or the community.
So again, whether or not you submitted a question, I truly encourage you to go take a look at them. They really are frequently asked questions. I'm sure you'll find something on there that you've always been wondering about. We get a lot of repeat questions that we continue to answer, so it's a great resource for anyone and everyone who has questions about any kind of city business. So please do go check it out, cityofchesapeake.net/virtual-town-meeting. And just keep in mind that you don't have to wait for a town meeting to ask a question. We are open to talk to you any day of the week. If you want to call a specific department that your question's about, there's contact information all over our website to help guide you to the right person. But really the best way to go is to just call a customer contact center at 382-2489. That's 382-CITY. They truly are the experts on literally everything. So they can either answer the question for you or they know who to get you to get you your answers. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We really look forward to hearing from you. Well, we here at Chesapeake Television continue to look for new ways to help show you where your taxpayer dollars are going here in the city of Chesapeake. Now, of course, a big part of that is capital projects. The Public Works Department manages many of them, from construction, transportation, stormwater projects, facilities projects. They really have a wide range that they manage. So we brought on Jason Brown from the Public Works Department to a recent episode of Peak Life, where he picked out 5 up-and-coming projects that are either under construction, under design, going to be under construction. It really ranged a lot. And we talked individually about each of those projects. And I think you'll find it very interesting, so we get lots of updates there. But another piece of that interview that I found interesting, Jason helped explain some of the process for these major projects. It's a lot more complex than just, hey, we need a project, and then the shovel's in the ground. Right? There's a lot you have to go through for these larger projects. So Jason Brown helped us understand a little bit of that in this clip from a recent episode of Peak Life.
Big projects have a ton of stakeholders, and we need to even think about the impacts of these projects well outside of Chesapeake, especially when we have state or federal funding. We need to think about the share and stakeholders in those respective arenas and how this project impacts them. And obviously important things like our environment. When we have the Corps of Engineers and DEQ coming in, we need to think about all the ramifications of a project and ensure that we're doing it the right way, to ensure that it's sustainable, that it's environmentally friendly, that it's equitable. So many important considerations with big projects. And fortunately, we've got a great team that has been able to deliver a wealth of great projects throughout the years, the Expressway, Dominion Boulevard, and again, as we're in the process of exploring even a replacement in the next 15 to 20 years for the Centerville Turnpike Bridge, which a big project with big ramifications, but if done correctly, is going to be a massive improvement that Chesapeake and the surrounding area sorely needs, and one that we're committed to finding the best way forward to fund, design, and construct with all those factors considered.
You can watch the rest of that episode at youtube.com/Chesapeake Television, where you'll find all of our local programming. So again, in that episode, we talk about 4 road projects: Mount Pleasant, Elbow, Back Road, and Freeman Overpass. And then we also talk about the Chesapeake Trail, which is that exciting Rails to Trails project coming up in the Western Branch section of the city. So lots of really cool stuff. You can also keep up to date with all Public Works active projects at cityofchesapeake.net/projects. Another thing that we really cherish here in Chesapeake is our beautiful environment, most particularly our stunning waterways. The Elizabeth River Project holds a program each year called the Youth Resilience Expo that gets kids involved, students involved with impactful projects that really make a difference in our local environment. And this year, several Chesapeake schools won. So it was a really great way to get our students involved and truly leading the way in this fight against pollution. Here's a little update on the Youth Resilience Expo.
So this year was the 3rd annual Youth Resilience Expo for the Elizabeth River Project, and we held it virtually via a Zoom webinar. We had over 1,000 students participate from 22 different schools, featuring 14 different projects. All projects focused on either reducing flooding, reducing erosion, reducing polluted runoff, reducing their carbon footprint, or encouraging resilient action in their schoolyard and their community. So a lot of these students started the year off virtually, and so they became the architects and started planning the projects and figuring out what they could do. And then towards the end of the year, some of these students were actually in person, and they were able to either plant their plants, build planter gardens, install rain barrels. A lot of these projects focused on reducing flooding on their schoolyard. So this year was a unique and challenging year. We wanted to really celebrate all the students' hard work, and we recognized that by completing their action projects, they already went above and beyond and were resilient River Star students. So we actually awarded all projects with a superlative award, such as Best Measurable Results, Best Use of Scientific Method, Biggest Impact on Reducing Their Carbon Footprint, things like that. This year, we awarded the Above and Beyond Award to Camelot Elementary School. Their project, we felt, went above and beyond. They just tackled their resilience from so many different levels. They made planter boxes, they planted native plants and trees, they installed rain barrels, and they also created a long-term maintenance plan, which is really important because it'll mean that every year, year after year, the 4th grade students will continue to maintain their rain garden and their planter boxes and encourage the resilient action for years to come. So 2 other schools that participated were Carver and Deep Creek, and they both tackled flooding on their schoolyard. And it was really important because the students got to make physical impacts on their schoolyard and watch as they took small steps to reduce the flooding and reduce sea level rise impacts on their schoolyard. Additionally, students from Western Branch worked to reduce their carbon footprint, and they cleaned up a lot of trash and they got reusable water bottles, and they cleaned up a lot of plastic on their schoolyard. Students from Greenbrier and Truett worked to prevent erosion on their schoolyard. These students worked to make a positive impact on their schoolyard and see how firsthand their actions can help. Through hands-on innovative programs, students learn to take effective actions and make decisions regarding sea level rise resilience on their community and in the Elizabeth River watershed. So these students are tomorrow's world changers, and one day they're going to grow up to be adults, and we hope that they continue to take these resilience actions with them.
No matter what your age, the Elizabeth River Project has something for you. If you're looking to get involved, if you're looking to just find little things you can do here and there so that your impact on our waterways is not a negative one, there's so much that you can do, and it's easily done. So find out how you can get involved and learn all about the Elizabeth River Project at elizabethriver.org. Before we go, a quick reminder, there's an election coming up next week. Next Tuesday, June 8th, is the Democratic primaries. So on the ballot, you're going to find Democratic candidates for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and if you live in the 79th district, which is in Western Branch, candidates for the House of Delegates will all be on the ballot. Early in-person voting is still available for the rest of this week at 3 locations. The General Registrar's Office, that's on Cedar Road, not far from City Hall, from 8 to 5 on weekdays and 9 to 5 this Saturday. And also at Indian River and Russell Memorial Libraries from 10 to 4 on weekdays and 9 to 5 this Saturday. Regular Election Day voting will be available at your normal assigned precinct on Tuesday, June 8th from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now there are 3 precincts whose normal voting location was not available for this election, so they've moved to a new location. All right, so listen up. If you vote in the Jolliffe precinct at Union Bethel Baptist, in the Parkways precinct at Greenbrier Presbyterian, or in the Shipyard Road precinct at Grassfield Baptist, then you have a new polling location for this election. Those new locations are right there on your screen, but all affected voters have been notified. So you've been given a heads up about that, but here's a quick reminder. Also, it's a great reminder for everybody that before you head out to the polls, you should always check the voter registrar's website just to make sure nothing's changed with your polling location, to make sure you have the times right, to make sure you bring the right information to be able to vote. You can also find sample ballots, so you can do some research ahead of time. And again, all of that is available on the voter registrar's website, cityofchesapeake.net/vote. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you again next week.